It's been a wild few days in the MMA world. There were several big fight rumors like Woodley versus Nate Diaz, and even Wilder versus Ngannou. And there was the most recent UFC signing of Hasbulla, which had the MMA world scratching their head. And that wasn't even the wildest thing, as Dana White played savior for Jose Aldo's kid, and Uriah Hall revealed that the ring card girls make more than UFC fighters. That doesn't sound like good PR for Dana and his team. So let's get into what happened in the MMA world these past couple of days, starting with Dana White and Jose Aldo. As many of you MMA fans know, the Brazilian legend and future Hall of Famer Jose Aldo recently announced his retirement. A couple of days later, Aldo announced the birth of his son on Instagram. However, we just got the news about this crazy connection between Dana White and the Aldo family, and how Dana in some ways saved Aldo's kid. This is what the King of Rio had to say. Dana wrote me back thanking me for everything, saying the UFC was always open for me and everything I needed. He has a great affection for me and my family. He was always very close to us. After that emotional message, it wasn't a boss talking to his employee. It was two people that like each other. I showed it to Vivian. She was still pregnant at the time and got emotional. Her blood pressure went up and we had to go to the hospital. She went back for some tests and was admitted to the hospital on Friday. She had preeclampsia and the blood pressure went up after Dana's message. Now Aldo ended up taking his wife to the hospital, where he received some shocking news from the doctors. It looked like everything would go wrong. He was born with a true knot in his umbilical cord, and if we had waited 2 more weeks, I wouldn't be at home with little Aldo here. Even unintentionally, he always helped me in my life. I get emotional talking about it. Not that I owe him my son's life, but it was after his message that got Vivian emotional. Her blood pressure went up and we took her to the hospital. He was born with all odds against him, but thanks to Dana, God always puts good people in our lives to help us. Now that's a wild one. But what might be even wilder is that Uriah Hall recently talked about the UFC payouts and how ring card girls make more than the actual fighters. For a long time now, UFC pay has been an issue, and recently, many current and former UFC fighters have come out to speak against it publicly. So Hall is just one in a long list of people who had an issue with the UFC on this subject. Take a listen to what Hall had to say.
How far can we take it? Don't have to go too much into details, but I know people that are making 10 and 10, which is ridiculous. If you're going out there and you're fighting, you're putting your brain cells on the line, and ring card girls are making 70,000, which is utterly ridiculous. So, yeah, there's some shit that's just not going down. But compared to this, it's okay. I never really, you know your worth as you get older in the career. I think, especially when you put a lot on the line for it. Some people feel like they deserve more. At one point, I felt like I deserved more, and I had to fight for that. As much as the UFC will give you an opportunity, what I learned from that, it's like a monopoly. They pick and choose. It's like, all right, which can we take? And for certain people that they don't want to take, they either just slowly dismiss them or whatever. It's business at the end of the day. The same thing in this world. It's business. Yeah, Jake might say all that shit, but it's just to kind of rear a stir to Dana. I mean, is he really doing it because he really cares, or is he doing it because of me? I don't fucking know. But it's business, and that's why I know a lot of these.
If Hall felt that way about what the ring card girls made in comparison to some fighters, I wonder what he has to say about the fact that Hasbulla recently signed the deal with the UFC. That's right. Internet sensation Hasbulla recently announced that he signed a fight in the UFC. He posted the following caption on Instagram. "The rumors are true. I've officially signed a deal to fight in the UFC. Details will be revealed by the end of the year. Thank you to at UFC, at Dana White, at Khabib Nurmagomedov, at Sungurov USA, at Justin Ozuna, and everyone who helped make this dream become a reality. All my fans will be able to buy a Hasbulla fight kit soon on UFC.com and Hasbulla.com. Now, of course, if we had to bet, we'd be guessing that this would be more of a promotional gimmick rather than an actual fight. But who knows? MMA is crazy, and the UFC has done some pretty crazy things in the past. Speaking of crazy things, we might see the greatest knockout artist in boxing history match up against the greatest knockout artist in MMA history, as recently, Deontay Wilder said that he would be open to boxing Francis Ngannous if the money is right. This is what the former boxing champ had to say. It was mentioned to me before, and I agreed. There's the old saying, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. And he agreed as well. I think that it would be an intriguing fight, and it would be a fight that would bring a lot of interest. Now that will be a spectacle worth watching. But there are several hurdles for Francis to clear before he can officially be free of the UFC contract and actually make this into a reality. Keeping with the boxing theme, there's another potential boxing match on the horizon, but this one might feature two MMA fighters. Recently, Tyron Woodley did an interview in which he called out the Diaz brothers, Nick and Nate, saying that they need to fight him if they want to make a few $1 million. This is what Woodley had to say.
I'm tired of them trying to feed the people that really built not the whole organization, but him and his brother built kind of like the bad boy organization. Tito Ortiz started it, but I do believe you got to give credit to Nick and Nate for being unapologetic and being like, fuck y'all, I'm being me, I ain't changing it. And then everybody went to their tune, so you got to give him his stripes for that. I would suggest he go and get paid top dollar. I would suggest that he do what makes him feel good. If he still wants to do it, when he wants to do it. That's what I'll suggest. And I suggest him come over on this side and make some money with me, because I got a good opportunity where me and Nick or Nate, or both of them, can make quite a few millions of dollars fighting each other. So I don't know if y'all got contact with them, but I was just texting somebody before y'all hit me up. How do you get in touch with Nick and Nate? So it's funny you even said that, but I got a pretty big opportunity where I feel like we can walk away very handsomely.
Now currently, no one really knows what Nate's going to do next now that he's no longer part of the UFC. Many believe he'll likely fight Jake Paul if Paul can get past Anderson Silva later this month. But a fight between Nate and Woodley doesn't seem like a bad idea, as Woodley isn't exactly that big of a threat anymore, as he recently lost to Jake Paul. So, from potential boxing fights to wild stories about Dana White and the UFC pay, to one of the most random UFC signings, the last few days have been extremely random and yet entertaining, which seems to be the MO of MMA these days. Now, we're pretty sure that in the coming days, there will be another batch of wild, crazy, and unique stories to come. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. With that being said, you just watched us break down the latest news in the MMA world. See you next time.